to get to the has a very good accelerated vision where he sees things happening and is able to diagnose quickly, and he just thinks so quickly out in the field, and he's one of our leaders out there getting the calls in and communicating to the defense. He's had a great year.
What's the prognosis for Dallas, and how do you plan on replacing him?
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to replace Dallas, and not just one person does it. So we'll see how long he's out. Obviously, you guys know he's got to be out for at least 4 games, and we'll see. We'll play that by ear as that goes. He was having a great year, right? To me, he's having a top 3, top 5, top 2, whatever you want, top 1 tight end year. That stinks for us as a team. It stinks for Dallas, so how do we replace him, right? You can't, right? And so you got to do it by committee, right? And so you have tight ends that are there that we have a lot of faith in this building that are going to have to – it'll start with them. Then it goes to, where some of his targets goes. Probably a couple of them go to A.J., probably a couple of them go to Devontae, and then you have backs that get intertwined in that, slot receivers that get intertwined with that, with Quez, and so you just got to balance it out and try to make you're not going to be able to duplicate everything he does because he has a unique skill set. So you try to figure out who can do what he does, and can they do it, and then you put that stuff in your offense, and then some of it, you might lose some of your stuff in your offense because it's always about players as we talk about. I know we got guys in this building that I got a lot of faith in, though.
Looking at the players who get bumped up the depth chart now with Jack and Grant, what have you seen from them in their limited roles, and what's your feeling of comfort in them having expanded roles now?
Yeah, I think the reason they're active and the reason they're on the roster is because we have a lot of faith in them. So we talk as far as roles goes. We talk about, hey, this is your role, and we sit in here and we say, hey, this is your role, this is your role, this is your role. And the thing about roles is they can change, and in this game they do change quite often. So you have to be preparing yourself to do so. I think even just in the last game, I said something on the headset, like we threw the ball to Jack, stole on a crossing route there in the game, and I just said over the headset, I'm like, man, Jalen really trusts Jack. You can just tell that the trust of Jack has just continued to increase because Jack's reliable, and he goes in and he makes plays when his number's called. And so I'm excited about. Obviously, I'm super bummed about Dallas. Because how important he is to this football team and this offense. But I'm excited for those guys to be able to get an opportunity to do a little bit more.
An injury happened on a non-called penalty. Have you heard from the league at all?
We talk. We always want to get the. We always want to get the ability to coach our guys how we can coach them, right? And so you turn in calls that you're like, well, okay, let's get clarification on this call to know how we need to teach it better, right? Or something like that. So, I'm not gonna. You guys saw the play. You don't turn a play like that in. So, and it's just, again, like I said, the referees, they got a tough job. They got to do it in real time sometimes, and that's sometimes with coaches too. We're able to stop and pause the tape and say, hey, look at that, look at that, look at that, look at that. So, hey, with the reason that had nothing to do with why we lost the game. We lost the game because we didn't play good enough. But as far as my conversations with the league on officials, I'll never get into that. But we always do turn in things to see, how we can coach things better.
Was Olivia Joseph signing because of Marlon's injury, or were you going to bring him in anyway?
We felt really good about Marlon, and so the things that he was doing, the camp that he had, the games that he's played in, everything, we felt really good about him. And obviously, we're in a scenario now of him being out too on IR. So we had an opportunity to add a good player that we played against last year and who made things very difficult for us last year in that Charger game. And there's a lot of guys here that have had opportunities to be around him. Coach Gannon, Coach Rollis, Tom Hunkley. So there's been a lot of guys that have had experience with him, and we think he's the right type of guy for a locker room. We think he's still a heck of a football player, and he's going to be able to help us.
You guys have now brought in 2 defensive linemen who are well over 30. How do you gauge whether or not they're still physically able to hold up, and whether or not they still have the passion for the game?
Yeah, you watch the tape, you talk to him, you do, obviously with Robert, you're not able to talk to him, but you watch the tape, you get a feel for guys that have been around him, guys that that have been with him recently. You're going to be able to tell everything. No, because you're not in the building with them. You're not with them every single day. But we feel really good about the process that we go through, and that these guys are ready to go and ready to play.
There was a
Locker room's open now if anybody
there
needs
was
it, locker room.
there was a report that he believes he can play as early as Sunday against the Colts. Do you think he has a chance? I mean, he has been on a roster, and when will he be in the building and on the field?
Yeah, he's not here yet. Obviously, this just went down, and so we'll get him here as soon as we possibly can to catch him up to speed, and hopefully he gets to play on Sunday.
When Tyree
Jackson played, it's been a long time since Tyree Jackson played. Is it too soon to bring him back into the offense?
No, because it's not just he's been practicing, right? And so, we're not just going to throw him out there if we didn't think he was ready, and so. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But he's been having good practices weekend. The last couple weeks, and we're confident. We're confident in him that he's going to pick up where he left off last training camp.
What's
Marlon's
injury?
Sorry,
Yeah.
what happened?
With Marlon?
Yeah, with Marlon.
I don't know exactly. He played through a lot of the pain that he was having, and obviously he toughed that out, which is awesome because. He has to be out, right? And so he played through it. I don't even really know exactly when it happened in the game, what exactly happened, to be quite honest with you. Pardon me. I don't know the exact moment in it, but knowing that he did it, but he kept going, which is pretty impressive for him on my part.
Coming off your
on his
first
part.
loss of the season, and you've got some injuries now. What's your message to the team this week as you get ready to hit the road?
Yeah, messaging to the team, always is the same each week as far as let's get back to work. Let's fix the mistakes that we had, and let's make sure that we're detailed in our process. And every day, just don't think about tomorrow, don't think about the next day. Same message every week, really. And you find different ways to say that, and just to make sure that everybody understands, we got to go back to work. We got to get better. We win, we got to get better. We lose, we got to get better. Is the process right? Keep going.
What's
With
this
Marlon's
week
injury?
mean to you going back to Indianapolis? Obviously, it was a big part of your emergence as a coach in this league.
Yeah, I try not to get too wrapped up into that, knowing that every game's big, every game's exciting, every game's got somebody that has to go back to a place they coached, a place, maybe where they're from or anything like that. So my thinking is just don't get wrapped up in that moment, right? You don't want to have anything different about what, we're playing a team that's this record, or we're playing a team that's that record, or we're playing a team that I used to coach on, or I used to play on, or whatever it is, my hometown. Like you try not to fall into that, and you try just to go through and make sure you're doing everything you need to do. But it'll be nice to go back and see that place.
Nick, what's Marlon's injury?
Man, it is.
Knee.
Yeah, knee.
Is
There you
it season ending?
go. We don't know yet.
If you look at Dallas' skill set, what's most difficult to replace?
I'm sorry.
What's most difficult to replace in Dallas Goedert's skill set?
Yeah, he's fast. He's strong with the ball in his hands. He's fast and good out of the break to create separation from the defender. There's a lot of he's unique, right? And that's why we're talking about him as a top 3 tight end in the NFL. And so there's a lot. I mean, he's a heck of a football player. Catches the ball, clean, sound. Can win with quickness, can win with strength, can win with speed. And again, you don't have to throw him the ball down the field, for him to create a play, big play. You don't have to throw him the ball down the field 30 yards. You can throw it to him at the line of scrimmage. You can throw him at 5 yards. You can throw him at 15 yards, and he's gonna be able to make a big play.
Nick,
Couple
in
more?
in your assessment of the run defense, what are the main things that you're saying?
Yeah, we talked a lot, and obviously have as coaches, and then with the players as far as what needs to be better. And it's always always want to put them in the best positions you possibly can to make plays. So that's first. It's always our job as coaches to put them in the best position to make plays. And then as the players will tell you, it's their job to execute the technique and the assignment to make sure we're creating the plays. So again, to say that it's just one thing or two things, like it's not. It doesn't. It changes each opponent you play too, right? And so, what might have been good to stop Houston might not be good to stop Indy. But it always comes down to the fundamental, playing physical, playing with the fundamentals, and tackling sound.
When you look at a guy like Quez, obviously he had the fumble and everything, but do you kind of look past that and to the ability of him to get open deep down the field?
Yeah, we'll never let a one play define somebody, and we'll never let a play. Quez is, when he's been called upon this year, which hasn't been as much, right, because of AJ and Dallas and Devontae. When he's been called upon, he's made plays, and he's pretty efficient when the ball comes to him. And he had he obviously had a big fumble this week in this game, and he knows that, and we'll work to fix that, and he'll work to fix that. But we got a lot of confidence in him, and we have a lot that doesn't, again, when I tell you we have confidence in somebody, that's not like blind faith, right? There was all the reps that we've had in practice with him last year, every rep this year where he's taken advantage of that opportunity. He's just continued to put his head down and work. And so, again, that's what we say with the roles. Hey, this might be your role. This is what you need to do, but this role can change as the year goes on, and you got to be ready to excel in the role that you're called upon. And how do you do that? You just try to get better every single day. So when your role increases, you're ready to go.
Last one, guys.
This week with guys like Fletch and Javon who played so many snaps, more snaps than usual?
We do that every week, to be quite honest with you. There's guys that are monitored each week that, for different reasons, and that, so we're thinking about that at all times with, there's a group of guys that we go through that with, and, and so monitoring their bodies, making sure they're healthy, is our top priority.
All right. Thanks. We got Jalen's on his way
Thanks.
down, too.
Second floor open.
It's winter.
So, Jalen, losing Dallas, how big a loss is that? Like, how do you adapt to not having him?
Losing a talent like him, he's a guy that can't be replaced. For us, we have to trust in everybody in their opportunities and taking advantage of the opportunities coming their way. Continue to play team football. I think we try and go out there and play complementary football, so just continue to do that.
Nick, just
I'm sorry. When you look at the way Jack has progressed as a receiver, what have you seen from your vantage point, as well as Grant Capitera too?
I think that room is well coached, and I think they have a great example in Dallas. Watching him all the time, getting to see how he does things, and I think prior to Dallas was able to watch Zach Ertz and learn a lot from him. So a lot of respect for him as well. And I think, those guys will be ready for the opportunity when it comes. They put the work in every day. We have a lot of trust in them.
Nick just mentioned
Tyree is
that.
at- Go ahead.
Nick just mentioned that he can see your trust level in Jack. Just curious where that comes from and why you are confident in it.
My trust in every individual on the team comes from the preparation we put throughout the week and the offseason, all of that. It all comes into account. So it's definitely a thing of diligence, a thing of time invested into someone, and we just go out there and try and execute, and it displays itself on the field.
Where do you think Tyree is at coming back from injury?
Yeah, I know he's been on the 21-day activation thing. I won't get into the details of something I really don't know about, but I know he's feeling better. He's moving really good, and when this opportunity comes, I know he'll be ready as well.
It seemed like after the game on Monday, there was kind of a sense of calm in the locker room. Guys weren't panicking. Why is that?
I think for us, it's about us and the things that we can control. We know we go out there and control the things we can. We're a really good football team. If we don't, you don't have the outcome that you want. That's not anything new. That's not anything that hasn't been said before on my behalf. That isn't anything new. So I think the formula for us is what we know it is, and the process for us is our process, and we have to be committed to that. We have to maintain that hunger. We have to be eager to do things the right way, because it's the right thing to do things the right way,
In what ways can some of the non-tight ends step up in the offense now, whether it's guys like Pascal and Quez or the backs out of the back?
I think it's just taking advantage of opportunities when they come their way. And that's all of us. I really admire this team. I admire the individuals on this team, because every individual on this team looked themselves in the mirror and they held complete accountability on themselves for how they could have done something better. And not only after a loss, but that is after the joyous moments. That is after every game. So that is something that I admire about this team. I admire that about the individuals on this team and the mentality that we've grown to have as a collective group. And I think when the opportunity comes, I will always trust them to take advantage of the opportunities, just as they'll trust me to, make it happen. So it's a team thing.
When you look at a guy like Quez, I mean, obviously, people will point to the fumble and everything, but the fact that he's able to get behind the defense, his speed and everything, how valuable is that to you as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think, let's look at the bigger picture. Is every individual on this team brings value to this team and makes this team special. Everyone. We talk about doing stuff together. We talk about being on the same head. We talk about the importance of being able to go to battle for one another. Everybody adds value to this football team, and everybody has that trust with the preparation that we put forward to go out there and execute at the highest of highs in terms of our level and our standard. And when there's, that's what it is. I think every game we try and go out there and play to the standard. And I think enough has never been enough. Personally, enough has never been enough. So when you're talking about trying to go out there and play to a standard all the time, and yeah, you win the game, but did you play to your standard? Did you do what you wanted to do? Did you impose your will on the team? Did you dominate, so say? So it's a mentality of this team. I know we're hungry. I know everybody has a part to play, and we are committed to doing our parts and dominating our box so we can all get the outcome we want in the end.
After the game on Monday night, Ron Rivera said specifically keeping you off the field, you in particular, was one of the reasons why they wanted to run that ball control offense they did. How can the offense handle that, and how can you guys also counteract it?
I don't think that's it's not the first ball club that has tried to do that to us, and they did a really good job with their game plan, but ultimately controlling the things that we can, controlling the things that I can, and simply executing as an offense when the opportunity comes. Obviously, we've done a really good job of protecting the football and taking the football away, and that was a game where it wasn't a reflection of what we've been throughout the year. So, can't turn the ball over.
Grant, someone you have a background with from college, where have you seen him make strides this year and from the time you first played?
Yeah, Grant, he's always been a silky smooth guy. Caught the ball really well, always has, always finds ways to get open. So he's a guy that definitely will step up for us. I have trust in him, being ready for his opportunity.
When you look at the video now of the Colts defense and seeing after they made the coaching change, what have you noticed from them specifically that they've done differently?
Well, I think the mentality of the guys that they have in the locker room, they seem to be a very hungry group. I know the aura about them. I guess they're hungry. They're a hungry team. They've always been a hungry team, regardless of the coach. And I know that they go out there and battle. They're a really good football team, and they do really good things on both sides of the ball. And I think for us, when you talk about us and the things that we can control, we just have to execute versus them. We have to execute.
You're playing on indoor turf. You did a couple weeks ago in Houston, but you have more games, Dallas. Do you have a preference in what kind of surface you play on?
I know there's been a thing of that with the health concerns and all that, and I'm all for what the guys want in the grass. I don't see a problem with playing on grass and why it couldn't all be grass. So if we have an issue with something and it's presenting an issue and there are things that can support that and make the case for all grass stadiums and playing on all grass fields, I'm all for it.
You're obviously locked in to what goes on here. You also tell us you learn from everything. Are you someone who looks at different plays or different quarterbacks around the league each week to see different things you can pick up on?
It happens organically, whether I'm watching a Thursday night football game, Monday night football game. It always kind of comes organically. So I think that's how I handle it.
And one thing that obviously was a high-profile game this weekend was that Buffalo-Minnesota game. There were situations there on both sides that were obviously relevant to the quarterback, whether it's ball handling, short yardage. Are there things you pick up on in those situations?
Yeah, we talk about football, situational football often. We talk about the keys to victory and the importance of fundamentals in those games. And, I won't knock anybody else for their lack of execution in the moment. I can only control what I can, and in reality, we just had a game, and I know we're on somebody's what not to do tape of, you make a big play, you fumble the ball or, a critical moment before 2 minutes, not executing the way you're supposed to, interception, giving a guy opportunity, the other fumble. These are all things that fundamentally that you can't do if you want to win football games. So before we learn from anybody else, we got to look ourselves in the mirror and learn from ourselves. So I appreciate your question, but my only concern is getting this team to play the best that we can.
Was the ESPN segment your first trip to the Art Museum?
It was.
Did you run up the rocky steps, or did you ever come inside of that?
Hopefully one day, not that day though.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Cameron.